We're on the record in two cases. First case is cause number 323236, and the second case is cause number 323238. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Lionel Coleman. Mr. Coleman, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Coleman, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Coleman?
I'm doing okay, Your Honor.
That's good. Mr. Coleman, we have two cases before us. The first case alleges that on or about May 17th of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, you was charged with the Class B misdemeanor offense of indecent exposure. Mr. Coleman, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And to this charge, Mr. Coleman, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Coleman, I have before me a document that is titled State's Exhibit Number 1. It's the misdemeanor plea admonishment. That's the title of it. And I see on the first page, there's one box that's checked, states that this is a Class B misdemeanor. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And on the second page, there are two sets of initials. Are those your initials?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And on the third page of this document, above the line that says defendant, there's a signature that purports to be yours. It looks like it says Lionel Coleman. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And on the next document, which is the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, there's a signature that purports to be yours. It looks like it says Lionel Coleman. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir, Your
Now, Mr. Coleman, prior to signing and initialing these documents and working out a plea bargain with the state, you were informed that you had three options regarding an attorney. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You were informed that you may hire an attorney, or that if you did not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney to be appointed to represent you, or you may represent yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
You informed the court that you wanted to waive your right for an attorney and to represent yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And you signed in this misdemeanor plea admonishment, you signed a waiver stating that you have been advised this day of the court by your right to be represented by counsel in the case pending against you. And you have been advised and understand that if you are determined to be indigent, counsel will be appointed free of charge. Understanding your right to counsel free of charge, if you were found to be indigent, you wish to waive your right to and request the court to proceed with your case without an attorney being appointed for you. Specifically, you waive your right to be represented by an attorney, to consult with an attorney before you gave up those enumerated rights, and it was your decision to represent yourself, doing so knowing the dangers and disadvantages of self-representation, and you further elected not to request appointed counsel. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Your Honor, that's correct.
Okay. Now, Mr. Coleman, Prior to signing and initialing these documents, did you have an opportunity to review the documents?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you review the document?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you understand what you reviewed?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it is.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Coleman, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State's Exhibit 1 is the document that have your initials on page 2 and your signature on page 3. The state would like to use these documents as evidence against you in your case. Is it all right for the state to use these documents as evidence in your case?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Coleman, is there any evidence that you are currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Coleman, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, Mr. Coleman, I'm just going back on this here trial court certification. It says that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Right. Now, state, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It's for 180 days, credit for time served, tax and retire the court costs.
Okay, Mr. Coleman, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you've already served 180 days in jail. Therefore, you would not have to serve any more time in jail on this case because you'll be given credit for time served. If you owe any court costs, you will not have to pay the court costs either because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Mr. Coleman, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And do you accept the state's offer? It's on mute. I couldn't hear you.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Mr. Coleman, I will follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Coleman, now we have another case. The second case is cause number 323238. And Mr. Coleman, in this case, you're charged with a Class B misdemeanor offense of criminal trespass. The information states that on or about May 17 of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of criminal trespass. Mr. Coleman, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And to this charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are actually guilty?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Coleman, I have before me what is marked as State's Exhibit number 1. It's the misdemeanor plea admonishment. On page 1 of this document, it states that this is a Class B misdemeanor. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And it states that the range of punishment is for a Class B misdemeanor is confinement in a jail for a term not to exceed 180 days and a fine not to exceed $2,000 of both such fine and confinement. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And on page 2 of this document, there are 2 sets of initials. Are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
And on page 3 of this document, there's a signature at the top of this, above the line that says defendant that purports to be yours. It looks like it says Lionel Coleman. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is a trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, at the bottom above the line that says defendant, there's a signature that purports to be yours. It says Lionel Coleman. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir, it is.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box says that this is a plea bargain case. You have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box says that you are waiving, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, prior to signing and initialing these documents, you informed the court after being advised that you had three options, either to hire an attorney to see, or if you did not have enough money, to see if you qualified for a court-appointed attorney, or or you can represent yourself. You informed the court that you wanted to waive your right to an attorney and to represent yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you signed the misdemeanor plea admonishment that I just went over, and in this document, it specifically states that I have been advised this day by the court of my right to representation by counsel in the pending case against me. I have been advised and understand that if I determine to be indigent, counsel will be appointed to me free of charge. Understanding my right to have counsel appointed to me free of charge, if I'm found to be indigent, I wish to waive that right and represent and request the court to proceed with the case without an attorney being appointed for me. I specifically waive my right to be represented by an attorney, to consult with an attorney before I give up these enumerated rights. It is my decision to represent myself, and I do so knowing the dangers and disadvantages of self-representation. I further elect not to request appointment of counsel. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Coleman, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did you have an opportunity, or did you read these documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
They are, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Coleman, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. That's the document that have your initials on page 2 and your signature on page 3. The state would like to use this document as evidence against you in this case. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence in your case?
Yes, sir.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Coleman, is there any evidence that you're currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
Mr. Coleman, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It's for 180 days, credit for time served, tax and retire of the court cost.
Okay, Mr. Coleman, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail because you've already spent 180 days in jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. Now, if you owe any court costs, you will not have to pay any court costs on this case because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And now, Mr. Coleman, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir, I do, Your Honor.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir, I do.
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, now, Mr. Coleman, just for the record, you previously, I guess, was incarcerated in Calcasieu Parish.
Yes, sir.
And I guess most of the time that you spent in jail was over there, and then we had to extradite you over here. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, Mr. Coleman, you have the court is going to follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. You have a good day, and please follow the bailiff.